Welcome to our new series about the human design gates. And today you're going to get to learn about the gate 21, which I know a lot about because it's actually my sun gate. And so the 21 in traditional human design is known as control. And in quantum human design has been renamed as self-management. Now, I personally have renamed it stewardship because I have a deep understanding of this gate. So you get to watch the video to find out how I came to that. And you're going to get to learn a lot more about this gate because it goes into much more detail than you're going to get in any book, for example. And it draws from my transit reports over the last few years where I go in depth about all of the gates. So do give it a thumbs up if you like it. Go ahead and subscribe, turn on your notifications so that you get alerted to when every one of the new gate videos comes out over the course of the next year. Okay, let's go ahead and dive in. So the gate 21 is tribal circuitry. So it's not logical and it's not analytical in that way. So it is known in traditional human design as either the treasurer, which is what we have on this image here, or control, which is its really kind of shadow state. And then self-regulation is the new term in quantum human design. So let's unpack this a little bit. The 21 is on the will center. And so it's associated with value and with money and with worthiness. And that's part of the reason that it's been called the treasurer. And it is in the tribal circuit. So it does have to do with our relationships with other people. It's in the commerce aspect of the tribal circuit. So it does have to do with money and resources. Everything on the will center is going to have to do with resources and value. And so the 21, traditionally with the treasurer, right, is the one who's making sure that the money is in the right place. It's going to the right place. Things are coming in and going out and all of that. It's also an energy for like project management. I know when it was first introduced to me, I learned about it as kind of like the CEO gate. The one who's kind of in charge and project managing. And then in quantum human design, it's been renamed, like I said, self-regulation or self-management. When Karen Curry Parker renamed it self-regulation in quantum human design, I was like, okay, I wonder what this is about. And the way that she talks about it is that it's about the ability to regulate resources, which is one version of a treasurer, right? Which is located in the financial realm. But it's like being able to regulate resources beginning with yourself. Now that makes sense to me. And it's true. I have a lot of intense energy. And so I've had to learn through the course of my life, really to learn how to regulate my own energy, both to protect myself so that I don't overdo because I have a history of burnout and kind of overdoing it, but also so that I am monitoring my energy in relation to other people, because my energy can get really big and I want to be respectful and honoring of other people. So looking at how do I regulate myself in different situations, that has been really helpful to me. And so you might want to try that out for yourself. If you haven't been really stewarding your energy well enough, like if you're not getting enough sleep or if you're spending too much time doing things that are draining to your energy, whether that's people pleasing or being in some dysfunctional way on social media or on devices, of course we spend our lives this way, but there are ways to do it that are more where we can regulate our energy better and others that are more draining. So just checking out those things for yourself. Those are all really important inquiries for us to have. This is half of the money line. So its mate is the 45, which is on the throat. And that complete channel is called the money line in traditional human design. And the idea here is that the 21 kind of receives the money that's coming through that commerce circuit and then sends it to the sovereign, which is the 45. Now, in a more awakened tribe, right, then the 21 would be the person who goes, okay, we got, 30 pigs and we got 50 bushels of corn and we're going to divide this up among the community so that the people who have 8 kids, they're going to get, more bushels of corn than the people who don't have any kids at all, right? So they're kind of distributing, looking at how does that work, right? And the sovereign is kind of like, yes, this is the way that we need to do it. So it was like this ability to be looking at all the resources and thinking about what's the best way for these resources to get used. but I still have my own spin on it because it is tribal energy. So it's not just about the self. It's not just about me regulating my own energy, right? Self-regulation of my own resources. I mean, yes, it is that, but it's also part of the commerce circuit. So it is about me regulating my own resources as I am an entrepreneur. I've been working for myself for a long time. I need to be able to manage, the money that's coming in and going out in my business and so on. Like, yes, there is that. But it's also a tribal energy. So it's also about how do I relate to other people? So for me, yes, it is self-regulation, regulating my own energy, making sure that I get enough rest and I eat right and I get exercise and I get time outside. I do my kriyas and I do all the things that really uplift me and make sure that my energy is strong and clear, and that I'm not going to be running at a deficit, right? So that is true. But I also see it as how I relate to people in my tribe. As I was writing my forthcoming book, Feminine Sovereignty, 8 Pillars for Regenerating Ourselves and Our World, pillar number 8 is about becoming the sovereigns of our planet that our world is so desperately calling us to be. It's about being able to step out of our kind of self-absorption about our own personal growth, so that we can be change agents in the world in the areas of life that matter the most to us. So we've not been well stewarding our planet, which means really to care for, to have an ethic that it is my responsibility, our responsibility to be taking care of this living world that takes care of us. And so I was really digging into that, into pillar 8, and looking at a lot of different indigenous worldviews from people in different parts of the world, but largely in North America, for us to kind of get back in touch with this ethic of care for the planet and not see it as something that we can dominate and exploit and extract from endlessly with no consequences, which is kind of how we've been, especially the last couple hundred years. So what is the alternative? Well, I really came up to the gate 21, because the gate 21 is, if you go and think of this in a tribal environment, because again, this is tribal energy. It is the kind of leadership leading into the leadership of the 45 of the tribal circuit. So this is about the collective, not the big collective in the sense of the global, right? Which is what collective energy is about. But it is about this on the tribal level. Okay. And so the idea that this is just about self-regulation does not seem complete to me. I'm not saying that I think that's inaccurate, but I only think it's part of the story, because in a tribal environment, we're talking about what's good for everybody, not just what's good for the individual. And this is really the kind of dance that I walk with inside of the book of Feminine Sovereignty, because on the one hand, we do need to build our own inner power to become strong and healthy, resilient, resourced, right? To be able to know how to take good care of our energy and our physical bodies and our connection to spirit and our energy sense in terms of our emotions. Like, that's all really vital, right? For us to be fully functioning, adults. But if we only stay focused on the individual and not on our relationship to the tribe, then we're not fully sovereign, because sovereign is always in part about our relationship with other people, right? You can't really be a sovereign on your own. Right? That's not what a sovereign is. Sovereign is about being in relationship with others, as well as being in relationship with all the others we have who live inside of us. And yes, there's whole villages that live inside of us. That is true. But I think you get what I'm talking about. So for me, the 21 really became stewardship. Because if you even think of like kind of the feudal world, that this idea of the treasurer and the king or the queen, which is what the 2145 is in traditional human design. If we think about that, the steward is the one who manages the estate. The steward is the one that makes sure everything is functioning. It's kind of like that CEO I was talking about before, right? But if we want to evolve that steward of the feudal world, right, which is living in a hierarchical society where, you've got aristocracy or royalty or what up here, and then you got the stewards who are serving them, right? We're re-evaluating this and evolving it to be more horizontal. And then in that case, we all become stewards. We all become stewards. We have the potential to become stewards of our planet. And each one of us can find places in our lives where we can steward things, more better, right? So not just sustainably, but also in a way that helps regenerate and heal our planet. And so for me, that's what the 21 is about. It's certainly become that for me. I feel like when I embrace that on top of self-regulation, right? Making sure that I'm being a good steward of my own energy, for me to be like, wow, I can just step into being a steward of our planet in some way, right? It doesn't have to be grandiose, but for example, I really well steward all of the different things in my environment to the best of my ability. And I also look for ways that I can collaborate with others to be able to participate in ways where we are together stewarding our planet, right? And so there's different organizations that are doing that. I'm fortunate enough to live in a place where there's a lot of different activity of that kind around me. And my invitation to you is, while the earth is calling out for stewardship here, right? The earth is going to be lighting up the 21. And it's really like, how can you step into another level of care for our planet during this time?